Shalom Israel. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. Now, this just in, I was reading on Prison Planet where it says Maduro rejects election ultimatums, warns Trump will leave White House stained with blood if Venezuela invaded. Because right now you have a sort of a Cuban Missile Crisis type of scenario to where, America, America was in, and this is the way I see it as far as like Slovakia, in a Cuban Missile Crisis, it was to where America was in Russia's backyard, which is no issue. But then Russia came to Cuba, which is in America's backyard. Now it became an issue. It's the same thing with Venezuela. It's the same exact thing with Venezuela, man. All right? Now that, Russia is partnering with President Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, which is literally in the U.S. backyard, now there's an issue. Now Trump cares about the humanitarian aid, helping them out, all right, and ousting the president, and he cares about the welfare of the state, which we know through the spirit there's more to it than that, man. Here it is, Venezuela has been, in a messed up state for years on out, for years, man. I say about maybe 4 years now, even probably longer than that, man. And there was not really much talk from the U.S. about that, Now it's such a big push, now it's such a big push to get their president, in there, man. In which Maduro sees right through it, man. Because that's America's history, that's their track record. So where if they can't control you, they're going to stage a coup, all right, to get you out of there, man. And then what? They're going to set up their puppet leader. All right, it's happened time and time again. It's called economic, and what's the word I'm looking for? I forgot what it's called. Oh, they have economic hitmen, to where they have a series of events that go down prior to them taking over a country, like they did over there in Panama. It's called the Panama Deception. All right, here it is. They waged a so-called war. I believe it was on, I can't remember exactly, but they waged a so-called war, all right, in the name of terrorism and safety, when really they just wanted to get over there, all right, they just wanted to get over there, man. They just wanted to get over there and get the Panama Canal. All right. And that's the same thing with Venezuela, man. So I'm gonna read on in this article. It says, less than 24 hours after telling thousands of supporters that he agreed and was committed to holding parliamentary elections this year as demanded by the National Assembly, the opposition, want to bring forward elections. Let's have elections, he said defiantly, just ahead of the Sunday deadline set by European nations to hold fresh presidential elections, though he stopped short of any reference to fresh presidential elections. Embattled Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has flip-flopped rather aggressively, warning Donald Trump he will leave the White House stained with blood if he insists on pursuing what he called a dirty imperialist conspiracy to overthrow him. Because like Nicolas Maduro and his former, his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, which I had seen this video where Hugo Chavez called Bill Clinton the devil, man. He was going into, how he was going into how America, all they do is, they go into countries and they basically steal it. All right. So all around the world, the world as we know it, they're starting to see America as the big bully. Well, they've always seen it, but now they're starting to say something about it. Okay. So it says, reading on, it says, perhaps Maduro's newfound resistance was sparked by support he witnessed yesterday. Okay, reading on. The Guardian report that Maduro warned during a combative interview with the Spanish journalist Jordi Ivalve. Stop, Trump. Hold it right there. You are making mistakes that will leave your hands covered in blood, and you will leave the presidency stained with blood. And that's what the weak saying I am strong now, because they got Russia backing them, as well as China. Okay? It says, why would you want to repeat a Vietnam? Maduro clearly signaled that he had no plans to go anywhere. If the North American empire attack us, we will have to defend ourselves. We aren't going to hand Venezuela over. However, Maduro admitted he was facing a tough fight against the powerful opponents, but was not backing down. They used sledgehammers instead of boxing gloves, Maduro said of the U.S., which he claimed was seeking to topple him to seize Venezuela's oil. Because that's the name of the game, man, the petroleum. Okay, says, but if it's like David against Goliath, Maduro went on, we have our secrets too, and we have our sling. David's sling is in our hand. Look at that, man. It says Maduro also sent a message to his opposition challenger Guaido. Think carefully about what you're doing, he said, urging Guaido to abandon his coup-mongering strategy. Because like I said, they know America. Hey, America's he's basically back. He's at his old tricks, man. To which, like I said, that's how they oust a president who they can't get under their control, which they'll stage a coup. All right. And if that don't work, they'll just wage war, man. All right. It says the democratically elected Venezuelan president also rejected European calls for elections, saying, we don't accept ultimatums from anyone. I refuse to call for elections now. There will be elections in 2024. We don't care what Europe says. Because, Europe and, like the different European nations in the EU, all right, under, following America, believe that, Guaido should go in there as well, of course, That's just adding, you can't base international politics on ultimatums. That's the stuff of the empire of colonial times. It says, speaking to CBS on Sunday, Trump said he had rejected talks with Maduro because so many really horrible things have been happening in Venezuela. Asked if military action was possible, he replied, well, I don't want to say that, but certainly it's something that is an option. Seems like it is for Trump to unleash a fire and fury tweet to get things back on a diplomatic track. And that's basically good cop, bad cop type of thing. To where, Trump will make himself look like the bad guy. I meant the good guy in the rest of the world. While they paint Nicolas Maduro as a bad guy, man. All right? But what they don't tell you is all of the harsh sanctions that America has put on Venezuela, man. That's what they don't tell you. All right? Now, I found this, let me see. This one, I found this to be...
Venezuela should be respected.
Nonetheless, the United States is continuing to dial up the pressure on Venezuela's crisis-stricken government. Washington's now revoked the visas of numerous officials working for President Maduro's administration. America's special envoy for Venezuela has also repeated calls for the international community to deal with the leader of the opposition instead.
Instead of trying to accommodate Maduro through contact groups or dialogue, we urge countries to recognize Juan Guaido as interim president and join us. The time for dialogue with Maduro has long passed. Don't fall into a trap that Maduro has set many times before, where there's a phony dialogue rather than a strong message to him. It's time to go.
Now, Guaido is claiming that he has met with European officials, and as we know, the United States is very much on his side. The United States has said that all options are on the table regarding their support for Guaido, and they've pushed for ousting Maduro. We've also seen countries like Russia and China that have backed Maduro and said that he should stay as the president. And so, on top of that, now the United States is claiming that they are not able to get humanitarian aid into Venezuela, and Venezuela has also made the claim that they found some cargo that included weapons and ammunition that were made in the USA. So there's a lot of different statements going on here, but at the end of the day, we really have to ask the question about what the people in Caracas actually believe and are actually seeing.
The U.S. Special Envoy for Venezuela also suggested that President Maduro go into exile to allow for a smoother transition to democracy.
You see? So the stage is being set. Like the guy Dave Hodges says. The stage is being set to where no matter what, at the end of the day, the U.S. and, a few of their allies, they're going to do whatever it takes to get Guaido in Venezuela. All right.
Political analyst Andrew King told us Washington's actions amount to a brazen coup attempt.
What we're seeing from Abrams is just shameless, deplorable move on behalf of U.S. Interventionism, U.S. imperialism. There's really no debate here. It's immoral. It's illegal. And the U.S. government and the Trump administration is using, including humanitarianism, humanitarian intervention, spreading democracy. But you don't have to be a left socialist to understand what U.S. empire is doing here. We saw how they spread democracy 45 years ago to Chile, to Iraq, to Afghanistan, to Panama, to Grenada. The list goes on. The Venezuelan people have the right to determine their own path. They have the right to make their own mistakes.
The U.S. Secretary of State claims the crisis in Venezuela has links to Iran and, more concretely, the Tehran-backed Hezbollah group, considered a terrorist organization by Washington.
I'm going to play that back, man.
People don't recognize. We saw how they spread democracy 45 years ago to Chile, to Iraq, to Afghanistan, to Panama, to Grenada. The list goes on. The Venezuelan people have the right to determine their own path. They have the right to make their own mistakes.
The U.S. Secretary of State claims the crisis in Venezuela has links to Iran and, more concretely, the Tehran-backed Hezbollah group, considered a terrorist organization by Washington.
People don't recognize that Hezbollah has active cells. The Iranians are impacting the people of Venezuela and throughout South America. We have an obligation to take down that risk for America and all across the globe.
Political.
You hear this, man? You hear this? Hey, man, this is beautiful news, man. This is beautiful fucking news, because here it is. You got the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, which is obvious that this dude is lying through his teeth. But like Esau likes to push the problem, reaction, solution to where now they had to go into Venezuela, all right, to protect them from the Hezbollah, man. Protect them against terrorism, man. Which we know Esau Edom is the real terrorist, man. All right, and as I saw that, I was like, man, that's probably why. Because you had this at the same time this week, to where over there in L.A., Esau was doing them the military drills. So like the Apostle Hart said, hey, martial law is coming soon. All right. So now, who knows, man? What can happen is to where Esau will push a stage attack to where now it's like martial law here in America. Now they're justified to go over there to Venezuela. All right. And seize that place. All right. So who knows, man? But let me get some precepts. I know I've been speaking for a while without getting any precepts. So this is let me see, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. This is, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, But at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Okay? So here's the time we've been speaking about, man, for years. You know, some brothers 2, some brothers, 30, 35 on up, man. I mean on down, man. You know? So it says, wait for it, because because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And all these prophecies are happening, and it's only the second week in the so-called year 2019, man. Which, by the way, is known as the year of Karagma. Okay? It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yet also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. And these other nations they're now seeing the so-called white man for what he truly is. Like the guy who was just speaking, I believe his name was Andrew King. He's breaking it down of how Esau pushes his wine and his philosophies on the whole earth. And they push it to where you either get down or lay down. That's why it says he is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And here it is, America. They got a lot of stuff to deal with, man. They got a lot of stuff to deal with, man. They still got Iran to deal with, man. They got the so-called ISIS to deal with. They got they got really their own Edomites, because it came out, I believe, like maybe October of last year, to where now Esau's looking to start a yellow vest movement, like over there in Paris. Okay, they got the men of the Lord to deal with, because we still gonna be pushing into the famine of the word. All right, so it says Habakkuk 2:6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, with a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And that's what basically Nicolas Maduro is saying. It's like, woe meaning death unto you. And if you come over here, it's going to be some trouble, man. And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, which is thick debt. And as all this is happening, the debt is constantly rising by the second. Shall not they rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, in a wake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Hey, so hey, keep your eyes glued to over there in Venezuela, man. Oh, you can't forget about this government shutdown that's brewing up as well. What is going to lead to lack of food, a famine of food and water. Which is going to lead to what? Rioting of the people, man. So it's about to get heavy, man. It's about to get hectic. All right. This is Ezekiel chapter 21, verse 9. It says, son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Yahweh, say its sword is sharpened, and is also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? Okay. So knowing the time, as the scriptures say, what is now time to wake out of sleep? Should we then make mirth? So we then get married and, go on cruises and all of that? Nah, man, we should be preaching the word, man. And what happens, man, as watchmen on the wall, once the closer you see the enemy, the more you're gonna beat your drums and the louder or the harsher you're going to blow the trumpet, man. Okay? It says, it is sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of the sun as every tree. And he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. Okay. I get one more before I end it out. 2nd Ezra 16. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna get another one. This is ended out with this one actually. Amos 3:8. The lion have roared, who will not fear? The lion represents Yahweh. Alright? Which Yahweh, alright, is speaking through Yahweh, and we're speaking through Yahweh. Okay? So it says the Lord have roared, who will not fear? The Lord God has spoken, who can but prophesy? Alright? So listen up, man, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh speaking. So with that, Lord willing, you Akim will edify. Shalom to the elect.